Nice. Nice. This is going to be my earliest chatting with the Natty episode yet. 7 in the morning, and not a bad way to start a Tuesday. Not a bad way. Let me send the invite over to my guest. Not sure how long he's been awake. Me personally, I'm just getting up. And, yeah, I'm excited. The guest joining me, he's going to be the first on Sunday. So I'm really looking forward to getting some feedback.
Oh, hello, that's my treadmill, sorry.
No worries. Let me see if I can.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How about you? That's much better.
You can hear me okay?
Yeah. Where are you?
I'm just at home.
What part of the world are you in?
Oh, I'm in Texas.
Okay, cool. What part?
San Antonio.
Okay, is that west, east, central?
You know where Austin is?
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, so basically an hour down south from there.
got it. Okay. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining me on this.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
So, how are things? Tell me. You're doing cardio. Is it part of your daily routine? Talk to me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been natural bodybuilding for 16 years, and I feel like I shouldn't have to qualify it. I'm trying to get out of the habit to say bodybuilding, right? Um, for 16 years, and this year I finally just got my WMBF Pro card, which is the first federation that I competed in then. So that was the last comp that I had at Battle of the Bay. So out in San Francisco, like technically Fremont, but the Bay Area. Um, yeah, so right now I'm still in prep. I've got the Muscle Mayhem coming up in 2 weeks, and yeah, just getting my steps in, focused on that, and then hopefully, well, not hopefully. I mean, it's scheduled, but then Worlds after Mayhem. So
In
that's the
LA?
plan for. Yeah, I'll be there.
I'm planning on being there. I'm in LA, so it's like
Oh, nice. Okay.
it would make no sense for me not to go.
Hell yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So maybe, hopefully, we'll meet up and
absolutely.
definitely.
What division do you compete in?
Well, I guess pro bodybuilding now. So,
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so you got Muscle Mayhem in 2 weeks,
mhm.
and then WMBF Worlds is where? I mean, what? When?
It's the 22nd. So amateurs will compete the 22nd, and then pros compete that Sunday, the 23rd.
That's amazing. Okay, I gotta make provisions for that. Okay, all right. So what did you think of the Zoom call? Thank you for being available and being able to attend that.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was great. It gave me some context as far as what I know we had kind of exchanged the messages prior, but it definitely, answered a lot of questions that I had, and it was cool seeing a lot of the names. I feel like at this point, I'm at like, I feel like an imposter almost, like imposter syndrome, because a lot of the people that I've seen, like interacting with, like I've been looking up to for so long, and then kind of like being on a call and like it's just like seeing that community come together from because there's so many federations, right? And that's kind of like what we talked about or what y'all talked about, and seeing that happen and collab was awesome. And I think that's pretty cool to just be a part of.
I like that how you worded it that way. Yeah, no, that's pretty well said. I when I first started this project, I was describing it as an assembling of the Avengers, and I really do look at it like that. And when I think of it, it's like not even the first film, but like the Avengers Endgame, where you've got 30, 40 different superheroes. You got alien superheroes, you've got, people from a different reality. Like they're all coming together to fight Thanos, like different timelines and things of that nature. And that's what I would like to create so far as this project is concerned, where you got athletes coming from different parts of the world, different parts of different federations. But if we can all unite under this one common goal to promote natural bodybuilding in a way that I I would want it to surpass the enhanced side of the sport, but at the very least, we would want it to be equivalent to it.
Certainly. And yeah, that's like I love that vision. I love that concept, and I think that uh, like you were mentioning in the call, is cultivating just the ethos and getting people behind that and just getting the conversation started because for people it's always I think a lot of us see ourselves as like the subculture of the subculture, you know, and it's funny because you know it's already bodybuilding is has this stigma or aura around it, and then you have then you tell someone like such as myself, I'm not a big guy, right? Like I'm 5'8", 5'7", somewhere in there on a good day, 5'8", you know, um, and I weigh 140 pounds, 130, 38. I've checked in 137, so I'm like in that range, right? And so I tell people I'm a bodybuilder, and they're like, "You're a bodybuilder?" It's like, "What?" And it's like, okay, but then if they look at my, Instagram or my YouTube or whatever it is, they're like, the hell? Like one of the nicest things that I've ever had someone tell me is when I first started was a trainer. She was like, "You're like a Christmas present wrapped up, right? When you take off your shirt." And I was like, that's so sweet. Like, you know what I mean? But it's just the perception. And so I think getting that out there is cool because it shows that what you were saying about living a healthy lifestyle and everything, that you can maintain this, you can do this for life. And that is what has attracted me to this sport, to this lifestyle, to this discipline for almost 2 decades. It has been it has been the anchor in chaos. It was the anchor in my chaos when it started, and it's transformed into everything I do. It's affected everything.
Yeah.
And so knowing that something like this can impact someone like myself, I know that it can impact at least one other person to better their life. And so that's
Yeah.
why I'm here.
Amen. Well said. Well said. I feel the exact same way. I think that if we were to successfully create a culture that is founded under the principles of natural bodybuilding, that culture has the potential to exceed dramatically outside of the sport.
Yep.
And I'm looking at, I want to make a huge impact, you know? So if I'm looking at the success stories of icons like Arnold Schwarzenegger, people at the time when Pumping Iron came out and then he became a movie star, they didn't really know what steroids were. So they just saw this really cool, charismatic athlete who became a movie star and he had really big muscles. So instead of thinking like, okay, I have to take steroids in order to look like this guy, they're just thinking, oh, let me just get in the gym because this guy gets in the gym and he's really cool and I want to be like this really cool guy. So it really created a wave of fitness, weight training, and actually paying more attention to how like your physique and your aesthetics look. Arnold created that wave. And
Hmm.
then as the sport progressed, and you got the Ronnie Colemans and the Jay Cutlers and the Phil Keiths, and it just kept on going in this direction. Steroids became more of a acceptable influence in the lives of the people who are pursuing physiques like the top Mr. Olympia competitors. And it no longer became about like I want to look like Arnold and just like get in the gym and work out. It now became okay, the Mr. Olympia competitors are all taking steroids and now the thought is you cannot have a nice physique unless you're taking steroids. That's
Yeah.
just like the general idea. And then everyone outside of the sport, they have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an uphill battle is like the one thing that I'm understanding. But my question that I ask myself and you is like, if we both understand the core value of natural bodybuilding, then how do we make this, how do we create a bigger market outside of the people who are already competing?
Well, it's what you've got going on, right? It's doing things like what you've got going on, and then grassroots, to me, education, right? It always boils down to education and educating people, but in a way that is not in your face. And this is something that I've struggled with, right? It's like that's and I've talked to other competitors and bodybuilders too. It's like we have this sometimes like a hard shell because you as a natty, you almost have to put up this defense before you even get approached because you already know you're gonna get those side eyes like you're a bodybuilder or whatever. And over time it it hurts sometimes, right? And so but instead of taking that in a hardened approach, and this is something like I said I've worked on over the years, it's like, okay, well, let me educate this person, right? It's my opportunity. They're asking me questions, and just because my ego was hurt at the beginning, right? And then like I need to change that, and it was like, okay, well, let's educate, and that's like what's also motivated me, and just wanted to give back. And so, like my coach, Jeff Alberts, he's an amazing competitor, amazing coach. 3DMJ, I got to shout him out. They have been like from the get go, day one, like my mentors, right? And I'm getting to work. I got to work with them this year. It's been phenomenal, and they have like built that groundwork of doing this and educating people. And so, like, I want to also be a part of that same kind of trend, right? The same as like, okay, well, let's educate people as much as possible about how this is different, and when they see, right, you put out content, I like putting out my meals, right? Because a lot of people think that you got to eat a certain, specific diet or whatever, when it's really just whole foods. I mean, there's nothing fancy about it, you know what I mean? And like people are like, oh, well, when do you eat out? It's like, I can eat out. I'm just picking items that are whole food based. And like, it's not, in prep, it's different, right? And that's what I try. And then that's part of the education. It's like, look, okay, you see this really rigid, structured diet, but it's only for X amount of time for a very specific goal and a very specific thing. And then outside of that, you can live your life
Hmm.
and have a healthy, everything else and incorporate it into your lifestyle. And I think showcasing that over time, and you've got a 3-year timeline, and if you've got this following and you've got more people showcasing actual like day-to-day blogging, tagging, all of those things, it will show that this is it's possible to figure out a way to obtain a physique, a level of health, and satisfaction with your, inside and out, because I think those things have to match too. It's about mind, body, and spirit. To me, this is what the whole thing is with natural bodybuilding, at least.
Preach,
Um, so
preach. Yeah,
I know
yeah.
that I was like a super long ramble, so I'm sorry, but yeah.
No, no. I couldn't agree more. I think education is vital. However, so the story and the project that I'm working on it from the perspective of I want to feed my 17-year-old self or even my 12-year-old self. I want to
Mm,
inspire the self that was like looking for this. And when I think about that kid, I think about like I think about who my influences were when I was growing up and how difficult it was to find actual real life role models because they weren't being inspiring, they weren't being entertaining, which is
mm,
something that, like I think plays a huge factor in actually influencing a culture and influencing perhaps a younger audience, which I feel like we should really be tailoring the message to a younger audience before they start getting to this diluted perception that they can only achieve a good physique if they're taking steroids, you know?
Mm.
So I ask myself the questions like Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was a really cool guy when I was growing up. You know, he had a philosophical foundation based in the way of the intercepting fist, be like water, my friend, Jeet Kune Do. He was teaching that philosophy and the martial art, and he was also spreading that message in his films. He was doing it simultaneously. Like not only was he a master of this discipline, but he's also showing it on like a silver screen, like the same thing. And when Bruce Lee shows up in Way of the Dragon or Enter the Dragon or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, he's playing a character, but he's also using that as a platform to
Hmm.
spread the message of who Bruce Lee is. Like he's practically playing Bruce Lee every single time that you see him in a movie.
Yeah.
And you could also even say the same thing about Arnold Schwarzenegger to a lesser extent. You know, he didn't really have a specific philosophy, but he was a walking billboard for what it meant to bodybuild, right? And
Hmm.
he was entertaining. He was entertaining. So again, it goes back to the point like you and I are on the same page as to like the value of the philosophies founded in natural bodybuilding. But if we want to bring that to a mainstream audience, education plays a factor so that we can like infuse it with the entertainment.
Yeah,
And
I mean, that's, yeah, absolutely
yeah,
agree.
I feel like we can't overlook the entertainment. And when you think about just content in general, specifically with like Instagram or YouTube or anything, content is intended to do one of three things: entertain, like we just discussed, education, and inspiration.
Okay.
So, so we want to start as a natural bodybuilding community. As a natural bodybuilding community, we want to start thinking of how can we capture all three of these core goals of content: entertainment, education, and inspiration. And it's there. I
Hmm.
feel like it is the Natty King, personally. I feel like it is this movement and this story. It has the potential to do all three: inspire, educate, and entertain. And right now, based off of what I've been seeing, natural bodybuilding content has just been education.
Mm.
It's just not interesting enough. We're not making it entertaining enough for people to like latch onto. And like that's going to be like the next hurdle when it comes to the success of the sport, the community, and this project.
So, I mean, then we have to ask questions, right? Because I think part of entertaining is is posing thought-provoking questions in such a way that you get engagement. So those are the kinds of things, and I think that's great. I mean, like I don't think, right, necessarily you've been in the entertainment business, right, or like that's what your background. So I mean, that makes a whole lot of sense, and that's I think what you've seen is the education piece because I think just the way that bodybuilding, the demographic it attracts is more, you know, geared on that side, and more so than like the entertainment piece. Um, like that's there's not there's not necessarily this whoa factor to the natural bodybuilder. There are a few out there where you're like, holy cow, like whoa, like this is wow, I can't believe this person's this big natural. But most of us are in that, so like you don't have the same shocking factor of the enhanced guys. And so that's where that entertainment piece has to come in. And so maybe like juxtaposing that between the two and part of your story, right? There always necessarily has to be a villain, right? And like, not necessarily making a bad guy or a bad person, but that's entertaining to people is either that the underdog story, the anti-hero, the forces against, you're like talking about the Avengers, good and evil, like those kinds of things, and having that juxtaposition. So um, I think that's a piece that you could, I don't know, go with or something like that, and like finding the the questions to or the lifestyle that looks appealing to a younger audience, you know,
I I think
I
you
don't
just
know.
hit the nail on the head right there. I don't think it's about the physiques. I personally don't think it's about the physiques. Personally, like when I listen to you talk about the enhanced side having the wow factor, I disagree. I don't think
Mm.
that the enhanced side has better physiques. I just genuinely
Oh,
do not think they do.
I agree with that. I
Yeah.
100% agree with that. But in the eye of someone like in real life, the
Mhm.
screen is different, right? Looking at a screen because you have no idea how big that person is or anything like that. But in person, right? And I know we're talking about content. In person, it's like I stand next to, there's IFBB pros at my
Right.
gym.
Yeah.
Who's someone gonna look at, right? Like I mean, like I look like a normal dude in a tee.
Yeah.
So that's where I was going. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go back to the
Sorry.
life. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 100%. Let's go back to the lifestyle thing because I think that might be the solution so far as like the entertainment angle, right?
Mm,
So when you think about like the lifestyle, and again, we can, as a storyteller, and I'm incredibly passionate, and I believe in this. The type of stories I like to tell is magical realism or mythologizing, like The Power of Myth, which is a book by Joseph Campbell. Basically, it's taking like the concept of your own life and then adding a layer of mythology onto it to make it feel like your daily tasks are more epic. Like, for instance, I'm going
mm,
to work later today, and on the way to work, it's like I had to slay a dragon, and then when I get to work, I'm making money so that I can raise a natural bodybuilding empire and save the world from its impending doom of steroids and enhancements and chip implants and laziness and like quick fix solutions like Ozempic and GLP-1s. And like
okay.
that's my running narrative, and that's what like gets me out of bed to like be really excited for the day, right?
Yeah.
So if you think about lifestyle, if we were to add a layer of like purpose and meaning to the life of a natural bodybuilder, where we are all coming together to quote unquote save the world or save the fitness industry. And if we were to capture what that looks like in a compelling and cinematic way, that's personally where I would like to take this entertainment aspect to. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
get. I get.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Go on.
No, I mean, I get. So that's a great. Yeah. And then how do you? Okay. So how would you do that as someone such as myself, right? If I'm, okay, well, I'm thinking, okay, like the first thoughts coming to my head is like starting off with, I don't know, a story or whatever it is per day. It's like, okay, so what's the goal today? One foot in front of the other, right? We got this meal. It seems mundane, but you stack these meals up. You got this training, and okay, this training. I woke up today and I feel like ran in the dirt, but I got to get it done. Let's go slay this dragon, right? Let's go conquer. Like
Right.
so, having that storytelling on a daily basis, weekly, or like rotation, like what are you like?
I think you're onto something, and I think the fact that we're having this conversation is very beneficial. So thank you. I think that it's got to be. I think personally, and this is just obviously, I'm incredibly passionate about this project. I think if we were to like kind of frame it around the Natty King existing, and
Mm,
right now the Natty King project only exists within the minds of the people who are bought in. I'm
hmm.
incredibly bought in, and whoever else buys in, it's like it becomes more real inside our minds. And I think the story is watching this journey and this title become more real over the next 2 to 3 years.
I've got something. Okay, everyone has a Natty King in them, right? Has a piece of the Natty King in them. Which one? Like, you know what? That's. I think that's kind of what I'm getting from you
Yeah.
is let the people who are bought in express that,
Correct.
and in my way would be something along the lines like we've got this project, this goal, you know, I see myself as a Natty King. Am I the Natty King? Who knows? Let's find out.
Let them answer.
Yeah,
Yeah, like you are the Natty King. You
yeah,
already are. Yeah. Let them start asking the question. Wait, what is the Natty King? Who is the Natty
yeah.
King? This guy's saying he's the Natty King, and I think of two perfect examples. And this is exactly how I want to lead the movement. Okay, are you familiar with the Mask of Zorro?
I mean, I know the general story, but yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Well, they did. Well, first it was a TV show or something like that, and then they did the Antonio Banderas and Anthony Hopkins version, which actually
okay,
one of my favorite films when I was like a little kid. I used to love that
yeah,
movie. We had it on VHS. But there's a scene where the Zorro, he's a superhero, regular
hmm
superhero, doesn't have superpowers, but he's a superhero, okay? Like, he's called the Master Zorro. So, Zorro gets caught and, like, he gets thrown into jail, and he's in that jail for, like, I don't know, 20 years. And
oh
his
wow,
face,
okay,
like, he gets a beard, he gets emaciated, right? And his arch nemesis, who I can't remember the name of, but he's like some colonel in an army,
hmm
he shows up at the prison and he has all the prisoners come out and he's looking for his arch nemesis Zorro and he wants to kill him or whatever, right?
mm,
He's like, "Are you Zorro? Anyone who is Zorro, please step forward." And the actual Zorro, he doesn't. He's just standing there, right?
yeah,
And then one of the prisoners next to him, he steps forward and goes like, "I'm Zorro." And then the guy next to him goes like, "I am Zorro." And then
uh,
another person steps forward, and then like all the prisoners step forward and go like, "I'm Zorro, I am Zorro, I am Zorro." And
okay.
that's the Natty King,
I love it. Okay,
you
that
know?
yeah. I mean, yeah,
Yeah. And
that's
then yeah, because then
yeah. That's powerful. That's how you. That's yeah. I mean, because that's creating what you're seeing is like, okay, this is a possibility for me to get to this lifestyle, to get to
correct.
this point, to understand that it's not just about uh, a trophy. It's not just about placing or a pro status or amateur status or whatever it is.
It's the
It's about the
mindset.
lifestyle. It's
The
the
mindset and the
mindset. It's the
lifestyle. Yes.
journey. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
the entire progress of everything. And yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
So if we look at it from the framework of Zorro, he was a man of the people, and
mhm,
his work was to inspire a movement of rebellion and revolution, right? So the Natty King is supposed to inspire a movement of revolution against the enhanced side of the sport, who is reigning supreme and dominating within the fitness industry.
okay,
So it starts out as an idea that spreads across the natural bodybuilding community, and then eventually the person gets crowned. And that's a really cool moment in the story where we actually
yeah,
have like the actual athlete stepping forward and getting the crown, and then we have this like physical representation of what it means to be the Natty King. While we've spent the past 2 to 3 years creating this perception, and then we actually have the physical representation of it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Uh,
So basically, we just have to do the mask of Zorro, and then just to tie it back to like actual real world. Again, I'm like studying the power of mythology and how stories actually have the ability to be incredibly influential. Over in Eastern Asia, so you've
mhm,
got the story called the Monkey King, which is
okay.
that around during the 15th century. It's actually inspired. It's what inspired. Do you know Dragon Ball Z by chance?
Yeah, I used to watch it. Yeah,
Okay, okay,
for
okay.
sure.
So Goku is a character that was inspired by Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. During moments of rebellion, I'm not going to give you the country, but I want to say, I want to say India. No, it's not India. I'm gonna circle back around to the country. But there were certain countries that would, during periods of rebellion, they would actually use the Monkey King and the story to basically as like a unifying force.
Okay.
So they would use the story of the Monkey King, and the leaders of specific rebellions would refer to themselves as the Monkey King to suggest that they are the leaders of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But the story itself of the Monkey King is just like a very powerful individual who, from his perspective, was being oppressed by the heavenly beings up there,
Okay.
like the Jade Emperor and all that stuff. And he's like, yo, you guys aren't better than me. Like,
Yeah.
he was a rabble rouser. And real life people would see that story and go like, I am the Monkey King, and these oppressors are not in a position where they should be, subjugating me to like whatever they have going on. So
Okay.
that's the real life example of how they took a story and then used it to rebel against whatever's going on. Then you got the Master Zoro, and now you have the Natty King.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I like it. I love it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess the
Yeah.
trick from here would be just getting people to start seeing themselves as the Natty King and the Natty Queen, because this could be like a simultaneous movement. It doesn't have to be. Obviously, I would want to crown the Natty Queen directly after, but if we
Mhm.
can start creating that dialogue, that start identifying yourself as the Natty King already, since we
Mhm.
already understand that it's really just a lifestyle, and that
Yeah.
lifestyle becomes infectious.
Okay. Yeah. I mean that's how do you so for someone like myself, like I don't know, thread the line or thread the needle between having that assumption and taking on that persona or the identity, or at least identifying with it, and still maintaining humility.
Mm. I think natural bodybuilders have been humble for way too long. And I think we've been letting the enhanced side just trounce all over the what it means to be a bodybuilder. I don't think that we, as at this point in the sport, at this current point in like 2025, I don't think natural bodybuilders really should be too concerned with like, oh, what if we don't come off humble? I don't think we should be worrying about that right now, personally.
Mm,
I think that if you think about the loudest names in sports, Conor McGregor, the way that he was able to bring so much attention to UFC, MMA,
hmm
um, due to his loud and brash nature, that's what that's what natural bodybuilding needs. Period. It's not even an argument. If we were to continue playing this humble card and just focusing on our own self improvement, yeah, you're doing great. You've been in the sport for 16 years and you understand the values of it, but it's not attracting people. And
hmm
instead, the flashy shit that's going on the enhanced side of the sport with these big physiques and this huge cash prizes, big
hmm
physiques, huge cash prizes. Chris Bumstead getting in at 18 and then getting out before he's 30, and he's a millionaire with 20 million followers. He gets to be humble. That guy gets to be humble because he's got all this other shit to go along with the humility, right? Natural
mm.
bodybuilders do not have that luxury. If we want to inspire millions of people, we do not get to play humble.
Okay.
And revolutionaries don't play humble either. And this, from my perspective, this is a revolution. This is a revolution of the fitness industry. So I would just take humble completely out of the equation. Now, now, I do want to clarify. There's humble, and then there's you could play focused. Focused is something different. Passionate, um, focused, passionate, emphatic. Like we would
hmm
just use different personality traits that still embody what it means to like understand this is a singular solo journey, but I would not put an emphasis on humility at all, personally.
Okay. That's tough. Um, that's a big ask, I should say.
I
It's a
know.
big ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well that's why I got into the sport because I understood. I was like, oh shit, these guys are humble.
Yeah.
I love
That's
humility.
yeah. I mean, that is Yeah, man. Like it's a game changer for me, in my thought process and shift, and that would be like a huge. I don't know. Yeah, I can't. I don't know if I could get on board with it.
I get it, man. I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, and that's what this is for. You know, it yeah, that's a huge.
Yeah, I get what you mean, man. I get what you mean. If you think about it from like a different perspective, let's say Arnold didn't exist, right? And where would the sport be if not for Arnold Schwarzenegger? Like the sport of bodybuilding, just in general, where would the sport be?
Oh, I mean, without Arnold, probably just how it was, just a subculture, what it wouldn't be. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say it's mainstream, but it's certainly more. It's more well known than it was before him, and then social media took it to a new level, and then it's kind of been definitely perverted at this point. So, or at
No, I
least traditional,
yeah,
enhanced bodybuilding. Yeah.
yeah. So I think if you are interested in making natural bodybuilding equivalent or surpassing enhanced side, you don't have to change your character at all. You don't have to
Hmm.
change your character. I think that we just need more voices. So it's like
Hmm.
if you, all right, so let's say I'm totally comfortable being the Natty King and being loud and brash and like an Arnold Schwarzenegger type personality within the sport. If like hearing your voice, like how do you feel about Shaun Fury, or how do you feel about the concept of the Natty King? And like just your voice, your opinion on this project. Even if it's negative, even if it's like you're saying natural bodybuilders should be humble, that's part of the story now. Like anything that you say about the story becomes a part of the story. So if you're saying, uh, I get it, I get what Sean Fury wants to do, but like natural bodybuilding is about humility. Boom, Daniel just weighed in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'd say. I'd say that if you're trying to eliminate a humble factor from it in order to in order to project natural bodybuilding onto a main stage or a mainstream, then you're missing the point. Then I don't think I'm gonna say this, and there's no animosity in this. Then I don't think you're a natural bodybuilder.
Hmm, that's a very interesting perspective. And I'm glad that we're actually arriving at this part. Like this is, I I find that very interesting. How do we
I
feel
mean,
about?
that's. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
Mhm.
and I don't want to say it's like a black and white thing, but I don't want to. I want to say that I think part of the ethos and part of the reason why you come into so many people that are and I want to say this, that are decades deep into natural bodybuilding is because they understand that achieving that lifestyle and actually incorporating it, you have to be humble. You have to take the ego out of it. There is no place for the ego in general to exist. And that's my take, right? I don't think everyone needs to ascribe to that belief, but that's my belief. I don't think the ego should exist for someone. I think that transcending human existence, you cannot do that with an ego. And so to me, I equate ego and humility hand in hand.
I'm so glad that it's gone in this direction. The ego, selflessness, and the weaponization of the ego is actually that's a lot of at the core of what I would like to infuse into this story. I'm looking at people like take a Michael Jordan. or an Arnold, for example. But let's just stick with Michael Jordan, who's a natural athlete who did incredibly great things within the sport of basketball. And he was able to accomplish greatness and be recognized as the greatest of all time because of his ego. He was driven to be a high performing athlete and transcend the sport and exist in a level of excellence that no one else could reach. And if he did not have a big ego and was not able to tune it into a divining force for greatness, then he would not be Michael Jordan. Now, he weaponized it specifically for that sport and for that athletic pursuit, while also still developing selfless traits in order to work with his team to unify the team to the common goal of winning championships. And while a specific athlete in the sport of natural bodybuilding might feel that an ego has no value in the sport, I still do believe that it is people who are driven by their ego and are able to weaponize it. That is what moves mountains. And that's just a belief that I would like to discover.
Yeah, I there is 100% agreement with that. But to me, I don't look up to Michael Jordan as the greatest athlete. Like that is not, I think he's the greatest athlete as a basketball player, but I would never want to have, I don't have children, but if I did, I wouldn't say, I want you to emulate this man because I don't think he embodies the type of character completely because of the things, I mean, I don't know him personally, right? But the things that I do know about him, that's not what I want. So to me, natural bodybuilding encompasses so much more because you cannot turn it off. This is not an on and off switch for us. This is life. Every single decision that I've made for 16 years has revolved around this sport, this lifestyle, everything. I've structured what I do, how I eat, who I hang out with, all in the pursuit of this to perfect excellence in all aspects. And so that's why I say for me, to have an ego that is that dominant, even if it's weaponized, it does not belong.
Hmm. Who would
That's
you want?
personally though.
Yeah,
So,
I love, no, that's a fantastic response. Thank you. Thank you. Who would, like, let's say you did have children, what athletes would you want them to emulate and aspire towards?
oh my gosh, I wouldn't even go with athletes. They would be the last on my list.
Hmm. Interesting. Do you not see the mindset of an athlete? I mean, aren't you an athlete?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I, 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 I say that because I think there are so many other figures outside of athletics that would be a better role model. Just because of I'm more like the mindset, right? So pursuit of excellence doesn't necessarily have to be athletics. It can be in the form of literature. It can be the form in filmmaking, whatever it is, right?
mhm.
Um, that's a hard question to answer, be put on the spot right now. Um, but like it would probably be to someone like you know the easy answer is Jesus, right? Like, or someone that type, that stature is like, be like this. And it's not necessarily like, be like this. It's understand the teachings of what this individual promoted. Have this mindset. Be yourself, but have this mindset.
And if you had to put into words the mindset,
Just, you know, uh, what is it? Yeah, have no expectation.
okay,
Be
okay.
better and have no expectation. Be better every day in everything that you do, but have no expectations.
Hmm, I like it. I like it. And I can kind of see how. you wouldn't want to attach that to an athlete because the athletes that are promoted as stars, ah, yeah, it could. Personally, I like the concept of pursuit, and I do get a little hazy because, like you just said, you structure your entire life around natural bodybuilding, and for you to say like be kind of dismissive of an athlete or like the mindset of an athlete is, to me is interesting because in a sense, aren't you being a bit dismissive of your own mindset?
Yes, I mean, but that's not the point to me. I don't. Again, it goes back to ego, you know? In reality, like this physical thing doesn't exist,
Hmm.
you know? It's just what's up here. So, if I'm dismissing myself, then fine, then great, you know? It's about, to me, it's like, okay, if we're only here for such a short amount of time, 80 to 100 years, whatever that is, or sometimes less, right? Um, what what can you do in that amount of time? You're spanning billions of years. Like no one's going to remember anyone in, a generation, two, three, whatever, thousands of years. So like all you can do is just make whatever yourself better, and then hopefully that inspires other people in your circle. And so that's kind of like that's the approach that I have. And it's like, okay, well, how am I going to do that? For me, it's living this lifestyle because it has given me so much and taught me so many things, and just uh, yeah. So like embodying this lifestyle and pursuing excellence in every aspect that I can, um, is, to me, goes hand in hand with natural bodybuilding. That could be pursuing an engineering degree to someone else or being the best engineer to someone. It could be the best whatever, right? But it's the pursuit of excellence and letting that pursuit impact every single thing around your life. And then hopefully, like a ripple in a lake, those vibes, those energies get spread to everyone else around you. And so that's and to me, going back to the humility question, that's why I can't take it out. That's why I can't you can't drop it. It's you cannot do that with having an ego.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Yeah, I've been told for a long time that I want to fight fire with fire, and from my perspective, if we do it this way, like the way that you described it, which I'm completely, I love how you worded it. I think I'm like I'm sold. I'm sold. It's just that my issue is that it's not impactful enough to change the trajectory of the world because the world right now, the current trajectory is Mr. Olympia gives out $600,000 to the winner, and the winner is incentivized to take steroids in order to win those championships. Bodybuilding is dominated by performance enhancing drugs, and playing the humble card within natural bodybuilding will not change that trajectory. And that's my only issue.
So how about then posing the question of, and this would change I don't know if it would change everything, but it would change the narrative at least. Um, is $600,000 worth your life?
I don't think it is.
Right, but that's the question, right? And so that's the question where now you have your villain. Now you have your villain, and now you have the entertainment, right? Like so hear me out. If you're trying to appeal to a younger group, a younger, right? Then you start. your sizzle reel, right? Boom. All these enhanced athletes, put them up, put them up, put them up, put them up. Their ages, befores and after pictures, and then their death. Because in the last 10 years, these folks are dropping like flies. And then you say, now, all of this for what? 1 million followers? For 600 grand? For whatever? Or, boom, right? Natural bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's the story, and then you can introduce it how you want at that point. But that is like, I think that's the hook of having that, and then you don't necessarily have to. You can now start personifying the enhanced side without, if you do, right, like if it was me and I was doing it, then I would focus on having that humility aspect. It's like this is a group of people, right, that is not singularly focused on just whatever, and not, you know, regardless of the sacrifices that the enhanced side has to make, right? Let's acknowledge that they are hard workers. They bust their ass. They do the hard stuff. Right? You can't discount that. It's hard work. Now, is it really is it really as rewarding? And do you see these people doing this for decades versus natural bodybuilders that do it for their lifetime? Most of us. What do you want? The path is yours, right? Robert Frost or whatever. You got the fork in the road. So that's your question, buddy. That's how we're gonna. You can do whatever you want, but this is the outcome that we know. This is the outcome that we know, and let's tell our story here.
Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. I love it. You've given me a lot to think about. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no, you've given me and just so we're completely on the same page, and to give you a further peek into the storyline that I would like to play is I'm interested in the concept of weaponizing the ego to do great things. And while I agree Michael Jordan is not actually a good role model, the accomplishments that he was able to achieve within his sport, within his chosen profession. There was a line in the first episode of The Last Dance, which is a Netflix documentary following Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. And a commentator said that Michael Jordan was the best at doing his job than anyone who has ever done a job. And
Mm,
when I look at it from that perspective, I find that concept fascinating. The idea of doing your job at the highest level and then achieving greatness just from the pursuit of being perfect at your job. But like, what does it take? It takes the highest level of commitment, the highest level of emotional, personal, physical, mental, and spiritual investment to perform at that level. The stakes are, they can't be any higher. And that's what I'm interested in seeing, if we can actually weaponize the pursuit of greatness while not sacrificing your humanity.
I think it's possible. Like that's the goal of, and that's why to me natural bodybuilding means so much, is because that is the essence of it. That is truly the essence of natural bodybuilding, is the journey, is the is it's raw. There's nothing that you can hide behind. You genetics, talent, hard work can only get you so far. Um, and if that's what people are riding on in the sport, then they're not. To me, it's a lifetime thing. Okay, and so that's why I like it so much, is because in you're gonna have your ups and downs, you're gonna have your obstacles and all of those things throughout your life, but the pursuit of excellence is not the job. It's not a job. It's your life. And so that's how I see it. You know, I'm my job right now is to be the best competitor that I can be. But if that means that I take last place, then I take last place. I don't care. I was better than yesterday. I was better than the day before. I was better. And that's what the essence of living and being a natural bodybuilder to me is. And so that's why, like, I can't separate the two. Never will.
I support it, man. I support it. Yeah. Personally, and honestly, that's why I'm passionate about the idea, but at least I don't think I'm ready to actually be the person who like wears the crown at the end of this journey. Like the story's got to get finished. The Natty King needs to be crowned, and I think it should be crowned by someone like you. However, I see myself more as like a foil, more as like a moving force, like pushing the story forward. But personally, between you and me, I think the Natty King should be going to someone who fully embodies humility. I still don't think that like if all of us just play humble, I don't think we'll get there. Which is why like
Yeah.
yeah, but like I'm with you for sure. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah. Well, Daniel, this was amazing. I didn't know that we were gonna get that deep, so this was awesome. I like again, no expectations, so like I'm incredibly happy with this conversation, and I thank you so much for your time. Do you have any closing thoughts on your end? Thank you so much.
Thank you for giving me your time. Time is valuable. It's the thing, we can't get back. And I, yeah, like, no, I mean, I get emotional easily, I guess, especially at this point in prep. So, yeah, thank you for listening and just being receptive. It means a
Dude,
lot.
yeah, I've got a couple more meetings scheduled today, and I almost wish I didn't, so I could just reflect on this conversation. But yeah, I'm very grateful, very grateful.
Thank you.
All right, brother. Well, best of luck with prep, and
Yes, sir.
let's
I'll
dap
see
it
you
up
in
at
LA.
yeah, at the World.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you there.
Thank you.
All right, bro. I will talk to you
Have a
soon.
good day. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.